All right, Serious Antillianist Outcast. We have a great guest for you. Anthony Vito Raimondi, also known as Conservative Ant. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, no, thanks for coming on, man. I really, really
Good.
appreciate it.
Thanks
So,
for having me.
oh, of course, of course. So, this is your first time on, so I want to get to know you a little bit
Okay.
and how you became so Instagram famous, and then we could touch on a little bit of news that's been going on lately, which is just crazy. So,
Yeah.
we talked before, so we're both Italian.
Yes.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up right outside Chicago, so I grew up in the suburbs of
Ah, okay.
Chicago.
All
Yep.
right.
I'm first generation Italian, so my parents came as kids from Italy.
What part of Italy?
So my mom is from Naples, Caserta, and my dad is from Bari, Puglia.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't have any family from Bari, but my father's side of the family is from Sicily, and
Okay.
my mother's side of the family is Calabrese.
Okay. I
Yeah,
like a good
I'm
calibrate.
second generation. My grandparents came over.
Got it. Okay.
I grew up in New York though. I lived in Brooklyn and then Staten Island, and now I'm in Jersey.
I feel like so I was just in Staten Island doing an event, and I feel like that's what you guys do.
Yeah,
You like
yeah,
right? Is that right? Is that what I
yeah.
gathered when I was there? Okay.
Yeah, if you go to, I don't know how it is in Chicago, it's probably the same, but if you go to Brooklyn, where it was predominantly Italian, it is now could be anything. Actually, a lot of the neighborhoods that were predominantly Italian in Brooklyn are now like hipsters, yuppies, so on and so forth. And my
Yeah.
old neighborhood is very mixed now. It's Asian, some still Italian, but a lot of Asian, Hispanic, Russian. It's completely
Hmm.
mixed.
So yeah, Chicago, that happened the same thing. I mean, like Taylor
Yeah.
Street was the original Italians, and then like Taylor Street, Elmwood Park, whatever. And then they ended up kind of leaving, and now if you go there, it's not Italian at all.
Yeah, yeah. And one of my pet peeves about social media personalities are these Italian personalities that go to the old neighborhoods and pretend like it's still there, like that life is still there. And
Yeah.
it drives me crazy because I'm like, I forgot who that,
So
oh, Gambino, that guy, Joe Gambino. Like he'll go to like in my old neighborhood, and he'll go to like there's a famous restaurant called the L&B Spumoni Gardens, and he'll sit out there with all his crew with the big Cadillac and the pinky
oh,
ring.
I've actually seen this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen
But if
this.
you go there, there are no Italian. Me and my wife went there for her birthday last year. We were the only Italian people in the restaurant.
So it's fake news. So it's fake news.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you want to know one of my pet peeves about Italian influencers?
Go ahead.
They act like they're Italian and some of them are not.
Yeah, they're mixed. Yeah. Yeah. It's the over the
It's
top.
really hard as the child that of Italians that speak Italian till this day and like were raised. It's really hard for me to stomach, but
Yeah, I totally get it. I
that's just my
totally
opinion.
understand. They overdo the accent, they overdo the attitude. You're making
Yes.
people in middle America think that that's what we are.
Yes.
And then like there's been so many great Italian inventors and engineers and executives, and this is what we're down to. Some dumbass on Instagram, going Maron. It fucking drives me crazy.
I know it's cringe. I know.
It really is. I don't know what it is. There's one guy with a big
It's
nose.
cringe as an Italian.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. It's just
Yeah.
fucking horrible. But anyway, um, were you always conservative, or were you like me? You were a liberal and Democrat, and it changed when things changed.
Okay, I was a liberal and or Democrat. I voted for Obama twice.
Me too.
But I think as an Italian kid, we grew up pretty conservative.
That's right.
So I don't think people really, I mean, we were raised Roman Catholic. So I mean, yeah,
Mm.
we were raised with pretty conservative values in the home.
Right.
But once we became adults and like socially apt and we grew up in cities, both Chicago, New York. I mean, we grew up
Right.
in cities that were very diverse. So I have friends of every walk of life.
Mhm.
And then being part of the whatever LGBT community, if you will, when I was in my 20s, I thought that it was like my duty or something to vote Democrat
Yeah.
because they were like supposed to be doing something for us or like
Yeah.
protecting us. And then I woke up.
But that's really what happens. And I think that's part of their plan is you get them young
Mhm.
because young people are easily propagandized. It happened to me when I went to college. My parents weren't super there's been a shift where years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it didn't matter really if you voted Democrat or Republican. Kind of we all kind of got along, but then it's become really extreme. And then I went to college and it was a community college. And so my parents never drilled anything in your head. Matter of fact, my father used to say, I want you to vote, but I don't care who you vote for. Just vote for
Right.
some. And then I went to college and they kind of, and I didn't realize it. They really do. And it was not nearly as bad in the 90s when I went to college as it is now, although there is a little bit of a shift where they kind of put this into your head, and then, documentaries, TV shows, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So the first time I ever voted Republican was Trump Biden. Trump Hillary,
So you didn't for Trump Hillary, you didn't.
Trump Hillary, I sat out
Okay.
because I wasn't convinced with Trump and I wasn't a Hillary fan. So that was the first time since I was 18 I didn't vote and I didn't vote consciously. But then as time went on and I saw the difference and I was like, okay, all
And
right.
you started paying attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What really I think is a first time Trump voter for me, well, really they said I was voting against my interest, right? Like because I was like, well, that's fine. Like, let me do my research. And then I'm thinking about it, and I was like, but the guy's been in Hollywood for decades, and most of the people that run his like hotels are gay. So I don't know how he is anti-gay. And then, you know, they gave me washed up Hillary again, so I wasn't going to do that again.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm going to try this out. Like, I'm voting for Trump, and I really liked the 4 years that he gave us. Like
Mhm.
financially, we worked for corporate companies that put money back into the company because of corporate tax cuts. Like, there was so much. I can go on all day,
Yeah.
but and then I just got into broadcasting, and when I went into broadcasting, I really noticed that I was discriminated against as a conservative because when they found out who I voted for, they said that I would never make it in the broadcasting business. And this was broadcasting school. And I was in tears, dude. I was like, I can't, like, they literally did everything possible. So you want to talk about discrimination? They did everything possible to, like, they put me in like sports broadcasting, knowing I don't know a thing about sports, like,
Ah,
because they wanted me to fail.
right. They want you to quit. Go fuck it. I'm out of here.
And I didn't. I
Yeah.
was the best, did the best sports I could possibly
Yeah.
do. But yeah, and then TikTok came along and COVID came along and I got pissed off and I did a video on COVID just as a pissed off American being locked down and locked down and locked down. And that was the rest is history. And then I started, you know, being invited to Mar-a-Lago and actually meeting the Trumps and doing things. And I was
That's
like,
fantastic. That's unbelievable.
these people are, and trust me, bro, trust me, John, when I tell you, I went to Mar-a-Lago my first time with every intent to bust them for being homophobic, racist, all of the above, right? I was like, all right, I'm going to ask like the waiters questions, the bartenders, I'm going to see how they interact with people. Literally, these people were the happiest people, said that the Trumps have been absolutely. I was like, would you work anywhere else? They're like, hell no. They take care of us. Like, Trump is such a good man. Finding out that his son, Eric Trump, like, officiated a gay wedding at Mar a Lago, like, I was like, these are the people that you're telling me are homophobic.
Right, 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 right.
Not buying it.
Yeah. It's equivalent to when you meet somebody and they're shit talking another person that you don't know. And then you convince yourself that that person's bad. And then when you actually meet them, you go, oh, he's not that bad. They just had a bad interaction. It has nothing to do with me. But
Ex-
actually, yeah, it's the same crap. Um, when you mentioned the LGBTQ community, does it bother you that it's all lumped into one? Because it seems to me that like once the trans community started kind of doing the men and women sports and so on and so forth, it was like, well, I have nothing against gay people, but I don't want that. So it just
Right.
seems like they did that.
Well, I always thought they should have had their own division in sports anyway.
Yeah, which
And
would
then I
make
could
sense, right?
never figure out why trans men were not an issue, but trans
Yeah.
women were the ones who were trying to interject themselves into women's sports. Like I was like, where's all the trans men at that are trying to get into men's sports? Like that doesn't exist. So
Yeah, I'll actually I have a philosophy on that. But
okay.
before I get to that, I want to know, does it bother you that they lump everybody into that one
Yes.
community? Okay, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I guess I'm the OG community, like the LGB
Right.
community.
Yeah, yeah,
We had many trans friends at the time when I was in my 20s and we are going out to bars. Nobody gave a shit.
yeah.
But like once the whole pronoun thing happened, and then we started to like blur all the lines, and then we started adding all of the. Look, I don't know about you. I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
So if somebody called you a queer back in the day, that was really fucking offensive.
Right,
And the
right,
fact that these kids, like these people, I don't know, Gen Z or whatever, added queer to the LGBTQ plus
right,
TI
right,
whatever WGN, I was like, wait, it's okay to call people queer now, but it's not okay to call people tranny.
right.
So back at, you know what I'm saying? So like, because now that's offensive to trans people. So I'm just trying to like, we're just as confused as everybody else. So why do you expect the so-called straight community to accept everything that's going on
Yeah,
right now
yeah. That's a good
when we
point.
don't even know what the fuck you're talking
Yeah,
about?
it's a really
Like,
good point. So my thoughts on why you see more trans women trying to get into women's sports is, personally, I think men dominate the perversion world. I don't think women are very much are perverts. So because the men, the trans women are the ones that are trying to get into women's sports, that are trying to get into women's bathrooms, that want to have what is it when they read to kids,
oh,
when
like story time
yeah,
and
right, right.
yeah.
When they have drag queen story time,
So what people,
you don't see the opposite.
so John, what people don't understand is there was, at least back in the day, there's a big difference between a drag queen and a trans woman.
Okay, right, right, right,
Drag queens are solely for entertainment. And listen, nobody have ever had a problem with drag shows.
right.
They're fun, they're adult entertainment, they're great.
Yeah,
But once you started interjecting children into the mix, that's when we were like, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is equivalent to me bringing a child to a strip club.
right, right.
Like these drag queens' names are like wet pussy and like
Um,
all of this now. You know what I'm saying? Like that
yeah,
is not a kid-friendly environment. This is an
yeah,
adult bar environment, and that's fine. But a lot of drag queens don't want to be women for at least back in the day, they were just women entertainers. Now they blurred everything.
right.
So now drag is trans and trans is drag and this and that. Who the fuck is supposed to know what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the truth. It really is. And you happen to be right, because growing up in the 90s, and you would go out into the city, we'd go to the Palladium, we'd go to the Roxy, we'd go to all these. There were plenty of trans, and in the Palladium, the bathrooms, I think there was majority of the bathrooms were mixed. You could go men and
Oh,
women.
that was the gay clubs in Chicago too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like that, to me, it was a game changer, like you said. Once they started putting that stuff in schools and kids, that's when I was like, all right, I'm officially out. I was already on my way out, but I was
Yeah.
like, once you
Well,
have the kid thing, that was it. Was that what completely turned you to, or were you kind of out by then?
100%. Dude,
Yeah.
I worked in bars in the gay scene. I worked with drag queens. And our generation of the gay community, like if we would have seen a kid in a bar in the early 2000s, we would have been like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right, right, right.
Someone come grab your child. Like, this is
Yeah.
not, like, we're not going to continue the show. What I will say, though, is that, back when I had trans friends back in the day, they were trying to pass as trans. Like, they were trying to pass as women.
Hmm.
So, like, they truly knew that they had gender dysphoria, they had a mental health issue, but they were working on transitioning to a woman. And they you wouldn't have been able to tell that they used to be men. Like these were
Right.
legitimate, like past the bar women.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know, it's funny when you say that in New York City when I was a kid. Yeah, people would say to me, "Yo, they know that's a guy." I'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here! That's not a guy. That's
Right.
a beautiful woman." Yeah,
Yeah, they're beautiful, right?
yeah,
And so they're literally trying to change it. And listen, if that woman walked into the bathroom, nobody would question that.
right,
What we're talking, nobody would say, "Wait, is that a guy?" No. What happened is they were hijacked. The whole community was hijacked
right.
by people who are bad that you just told us about,
Hmm.
predators in a lot of cases. And so now it's like, oh, you have a beard and long hair and you're wearing a dress, and now you want to go into the bathroom with
Right,
my daughter?
right.
Hold the fuck up, dude. Like that's
Yeah,
not what we're doing here. So yeah, it's a really weird situation. And now they're just calling people transphobic and homophobic because it doesn't fit their psychotic thought
mhm.
process.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. It's really strange. That was I was kind of already kind of like on my way out, but once that became and the books, um,
Oh,
and
those
the
books are real.
yeah.
Democrats are going to try, liberals are going to try to tell you that that's not a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could plainly see it. Um, it seems like to me uh, that people are waking up, and one of the reasons people are kind of waking up is that nobody's watching mainstream media anymore. It's very much going to, you know, podcasts and YouTube channels, and people are watching
They're
like
watching us. Yeah.
right. They're watching people like PBD and Tim Pool and you know Rogan, and you go down the line. And as a matter of fact, I actually Bill O'Reilly is now on podcasting, and Tucker Carlson. Man, Bill O'Reilly said a stat that since the Trump victory, CNN and MSNBC viewers have dropped more than 50%.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny part is, and this is what I want your opinion on, if you do go back and watch CNN or MSNBC, they're not only doubling down, they're tripling down. Like they're still pushing the same thing. So do you think that this is just a religion for them? Or do you think they're just kind of trying to save face and behind the scenes, they're trying to figure out how the fuck can we change this?
I don't, well, I don't know what it is
Yeah,
because I'm trying to figure it out myself, and it it clearly didn't work.
right,
Whatever they were doing before didn't work for them, and so they're doing it still.
right.
And so I'm trying to question, and I'm saying, are y'all still getting paid or something? Like, have they not cut off your funds yet?
Mhm,
I'm trying to figure out how they can, and I think that they just might be in denial. Like they're
mhm.
literally, it's like his mass hysteria. And here's the thing: is now that side has gotten violent. And by the way, for your listeners, speaking as an ex liberal, y'all made me run away from the left.
Yeah, me too.
Like they could have kept me there
Me too.
if they were sane. I literally ran and left my fucking shoes.
Yeah,
Like I was like, "Oh my god, you guys are insane." They literally give people death threats and say that they will rape their children
yeah,
because they don't agree with them.
yeah,
That is another level of psychotic.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, I'm no, I'm not a part of that. I would never say that. For your fingers to type that out, you have problems
yeah,
and need to be locked up.
yeah. It's yeah. How much of it do you think is uh mental instability, or how much do you think it is poor parenting? So what I mean by that is when you see Gen Z or the later millennials, not the early millennials, the more the later millennials, because you're considered a millennial, but you're a right,
I
yeah,
like to call myself a Zennial because
yeah,
I was
yeah,
born in
exactly, exactly,
85.
yeah,
So I'm like on
yeah.
the, yeah.
So but it is this you know, like, so what I mean by that is when you see these people and they get a difference of opinion and they scream and holler and yell, that's what a child does.
Correct.
So to me, it seems like they were never taught how to be responsible adults and understand to control emotions and listen and learn and collaborate with people and socially discuss things with people. It seems like they're still just children, and they think that that's how they work in the world. They just scream and yell and holler and so on and so forth. How much of it you think is just basically they're just batshit, or do you think that that's just they just grew up so entitled? Because I think that's a big portion of it too.
So two things. One thing is I think that our government created a mental health crisis. I think COVID and lockdowns really made people batshit crazy.
Mm,
And then the other thing, when you talk about parenting, okay, so we're in our 40s, okay?
right, right,
Those are our kids.
right, right, right.
We did that.
100%.
So if we were raised with respect and all the things that we were raised with, why the fuck did y'all do this to your kids?
Right,
Because it's your fault, okay?
right,
And the strict thing dies off after general. If you look at my grandparents,
right.
then
Same
if
thing
you
with
look
me.
at my yeah, and then you look at my grandparents, and my parents were like, "Well, I'm not going to be that bad,"
Right,
but then my parents were like, kind of pretty strict, like, no, you're not sleeping over people's house. I'm gonna whoop your ass, like
right,
shit
right,
like
right,
that, right? And then I guess with us, we were like, oh, I'm definitely not gonna be like my parents. Like, I want
right,
to be more cool.
right. I agree.
But you're not your kid's friend though. We could be
That's
friends when you're 21 years old.
that's right.
When
That's
you're
right.
21 and you're out of my dad's my best friend.
Right.
We could be best friends now though.
Yeah.
He definitely wasn't my best friend when I was fucking
No, it was your father.
15.
Big difference.
I was terrified of him.
Yes.
Terrified.
Yeah.
But
The scariest thing I ever heard growing up is wait till your father comes home.
oh my God, that was that was it. My life
Yeah.
was over.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of it has to do with parenting and innocently, probably because we don't want to be like our parents,
Yeah.
but we did this.
Yeah.
And then you add the element of school and the brainwashing, and the biggest problem is social media.
100%. No, 100%. Because when you look at social media, like if I look up one of your clips pop up all the time now, right?
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing. So if I'm looking at a leftist column or a leftist influencer, it's popping up all the time. You could literally just put yourself in this box if you want to with
Uh-huh.
social media. You know, so just to get to know you a little bit, were you always funny? Because because
Am
I,
I funny?
oh, you're hilarious. The first time that I saw you, you were on a podcast talking about the trans thing, but I didn't know who you were. And then what happened was somebody sent me a clip of you, and this was during the Trump when they were campaigning,
Uh-huh.
and it was when I think when they tried to assassinate him, and the all your mannerisms and what you do with the phone when you beat the phone. And it's just, I was crying. I'm like, who is this? This guy's hilarious. So then, of course, I went down the conservative ant rabbit hole and I just
Yeah.
started watching all your videos. And I'm like, where'd you get that big blow up phone from?
So, I'm going way back. So I've been doing social media for 5 years. And by the way, yes, me and my family, we all have the same personality. We're all funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Just naturally ball busters, funny. Yeah. So I've been doing this off cam for a long time.
right.
Everything that you've seen, my mannerisms, all of it. But I had picked up a remote one time and I was just like I had made a phone call to the White House. And one of my followers was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And they started sending me different phones. And
Wow,
one of them was a blow up phone. And I'm
that's
like, this is hysterical. I even have an old, um,
oh my God.
yeah, yeah, Motorola. I think this is a Motorola. Yeah, it's a Motorola Flip. Remember these?
Yeah,
So over the years, people have sent me different, a brick phone, the blow up phone. Well, the blow up phone was a viewer favorite.
really. Yeah.
So I could not retire that. I had to create more videos with that. And then beating up my phone, dude, it's literally what we wish we can do to everybody who is
You're right.
stupid. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So the first time I threw something at my phone or beat up my phone, I mean, I listen to the comment section. I'm like, people like that. Y'all
Oh,
like to get beat up. I mean, it's kind of, I think it's a fetish.
it's yeah,
People
it's a
love when I
fetish.
beat up my phone.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Do you do any stand up? Because a lot of influencers will do stand up and
I
whatnot.
know. You know what? I've been asked to.
Yeah.
I hosted not really well, I introduced somebody at Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples. And that was the longest 5 minutes of my life. I
Mhm.
literally thought when I got on stage that my entire soul was going to come out of my ass.
Yeah, yeah, that's rough.
And, because people are sitting there blinking at you
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
waiting for you to make them laugh. And
yeah,
now I'm in Naples, Florida. Like,
right.
the fuck am I going to talk to these
Yeah,
people
yeah,
about? But yeah, no, it went well. I'm scared that if I get up there, I'm not gonna know what to say. I think I have to just craft myself more and maybe host some more
yeah,
shows because I did do another one in Orlando and I was the host the entire time. So I called out the stand-up
yeah,
comedians
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I ended up being funnier than the comedians.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There have been
So
times where I've gone to stand up because I love stand up. I love comedy. There are times I've been gone like these guys are horrible, and then
yeah,
there are times I go and I don't know who this person is, and I'm like, this guy's gonna be a superstar or girl. I'm just busting out.
I just feel
Um,
like it's such a saturated industry. Like I'd rather do it in skit
yeah, yeah,
with other comedians, but
yeah, yeah.
I'll dabble in it. I'm
Have
not
you
scared.
ever noticed that very few comedians are really good at both stand up and skit? Like you could literally count on your hand. Like Richard Pryor was both stand up and
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle obviously is great, but like Lucille Ball or Carol Burnett couldn't do stand up to save their life, but skit comedy they were great. And Joan Rivers was the absolute opposite. You give her a
I
microphone,
love that you just mentioned Lucille Ball
yeah,
because people do not realize that she was literally the pinnacle of comedy.
she was hilarious for the
Carol
time.
Burnett was literally
Yeah,
these women were the trailblazers for comedy. I feel.
absolutely. No, they were able to do skit comedy like nobody's business.
Yeah.
The Carol Burnett show, the Lucille Ball. Joan Rivers was the opposite. Joan Rivers couldn't do skit comedy for shit, but you gave her a microphone, she was a genius.
Oh, she tears it up, man.
But for
She
some, I
used to
don't know
tear it up.
why, but there's like the original cast from SNL, they're terrible stand up, but great skit comedy.
Yeah.
Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. There's very few that could do both. I don't know what goes into it. I don't know what the difference is.
Well, I mean, I think there's some, but not many. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Eddie Murphy was a great stand-up
that
comedian in the
that's right,
80s,
absolutely.
100%,
Yeah, and also did great skit comedy. Yeah, right.
and did really great. Yeah, and some of the best comedy movies that we've ever seen. I mean, Coming to America was like one of
Yeah.
the best movies,
And he
and
dominated.
many more.
If it wasn't for Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live, that would have been the worst era of Saturday Night Live. Because who is the number two guy? Joe Piscopo? He sucked.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so after Trump won, I really started to stop paying attention to the liberal media because at this point I'm like, in my head, I'm going, you got your ass kicked. You're exposed. You're liars. You're manipulators. You put Kamala in. Nobody voted for her. You pulled Biden out. You propped up Biden like a puppet. So to me, after Trump won, I'm like, you're literally, it's a wrap. You're done. It's over.
Yeah,
Just go back to the drawing board and try. But as we said before, they're doubling down or tripling down. And the strangest thing to me is because when we were growing up, I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 48. When we were growing up, the
you do
Democrats and the
not
lib
look 48 at
thank you
all.
very much, actually. Thank you. Well, the liberals and the Democrats were the ones that were more virtuous. They were the ones that were looking into corporate greed and so on and so forth. So then Trump starts Doge, and he does something really smart. He puts all handpicked people in very, very important places, and obviously he did that intentionally. And
Hmm.
then they start exposing corporate, um, manipulation and corporate corruption and all this money and where it goes and so on and so forth. And I can't wrap my head around how these liberals are trying to flip it. It blows me away.
Yeah, I, you know, I don't understand that either because it's not like they're exposing, it's not like liberal America is finding out that grandmothers who are like sick are the ones who like are taking food from grocery stores. We're talking about the people on top. literally for decades
Yeah.
have been stealing our fucking money.
Right.
And not just Democrats and not just Republicans,
Right.
both sides,
Right.
and not just Republican Americans were affected. All Americans were affected while you starved, while
Right.
your family members were buried under the rubble in different natural disasters. You were getting fucked. And now there's this, take Elon Musk out of the equation. Let's say that it was Michelle Obama. I don't
Right.
know. Just name somebody liberal, okay? Say she was uncovering this stuff. They would have been like,
Oh, they would put on a penny. Yeah.
oh
The
my
second
God,
coming of
this is the
Christ. Yeah.
correct. But because it is somebody who was appointed by Donald Trump, they are so mentally unstable that they and it's so weird to me because I'm like, you can't afford your rent. Here's the reason why. You're pissed off at the guy who just told you?
Right. 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 It blows me
Like,
away. And some of this stuff, I put together a small list of some of the things that they uncovered. 600 million every 2 months to ship in illegals, 40 billion for electric carports, and apparently they only built eight with that 40 billion. 11 million for Vietnam to stop burning trash. 20 million to give gift bags to illegals. 330 million for Afghan to grow crops. 200 million unused Afghan dam. 250 million used for unused Afghan road, and even the smallest stuff. 2 million to funding 2 million in funding a Moroccan pottery class. Over 1 million to fund research in the Wuhan lab. 20 million to make Sesame Street in Iraq. 1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. 70,000 for a production of DEI musical in Ireland. I mean, the list goes on. It just gets ridiculous. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. I mean, it just gets more and more
well, and then
ridiculous.
I just seen a video the other day from I think it was like Sky News or something in South Africa, and there's a woman who can no longer get her HIV medication at some clinic that is now shut down because we stopped funding it.
Hmm.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you can't get fucking meds in fucking South Africa or Italy or Peru or fucking Ireland. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
Your
When did it?
government, your government needs to fund that, not me.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Even
And
if this was Italy, okay, we're Italian American, right?
yeah.
We're Americans, but we have descendants of Italians. If they told me that $640 million went to a Sesame Street in fucking Italy, I would say they can go fuck themselves. I don't want to fucking fund
Oh,
this.
yeah, that's right. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're 100% right. And then to add insult to injury, I think it was this week that they found, was it this week or last week? They found out that FEMA gave $50 million to New York City to put immigrants in luxury hotels.
Can
And I
you
think they
believe
fired a couple of the FEMA,
59, 59 million?
59 million. I'm sorry. I think they fired a couple of the FEMA employees today, actually, since then.
Well, yes. And you know, and here as a new Floridian, right? I've been here for 5 years. I've
Right.
been through some of the most catastrophic hurricanes in this 5 years that the state has seen in a long time.
Hmm.
I've helped boots on the ground. I've literally had altercations myself with FEMA while we were doing cleanup on the ground.
Oh,
I've
that's
had
right. That's
all,
right. I totally forgot about that. Right, right,
yep.
right. Go ahead.
I've had altercations with Red Cross. I've seen what they did to block Governor DeSantis from doing the things that he needed to do, and what they're continuing to block. FEMA's continuing to block stuff. I went up to the Big Bend region when they just got hit by not only Helene, but then they got hit again by Milton, and they never recovered from either of those hurricanes. They literally said to me, "Aunt, FEMA has been here ever since last year, and they literally are just here, and they said that they can't do anything to help us. So why are they here? I'll tell you why they're there. They're there because they're getting paid by the government to just say that they're there.
Hmm.
Okay. So they're useless
Yeah,
pieces of garbage. So yeah, I have a problem when $59 million went to house illegal migrants
yeah.
and not house people in North Carolina that are literally freezing in tents with no food.
Yeah. And when that happened, I don't know if you remember,
Or
but
Hawaii. We don't
we
even
still
talk about Hawaii anymore.
LA, Hawaii, North Carolina. It's just, I think the FEMA said when that North Carolina disaster happened that they didn't have the funds, if you remember. But fast forward a few months later, and they have the funds for this. It's just,
Well, and they all got $750, which I
oh my God, you're right.
and I and a lot of people were not getting approved for that. I already knew that was going to happen because that shit happened during Hurricane Ian. And I'm willing to bet that shit happened during Hurricane Sandy as well. When
Yeah,
y'all got hit with Sandy,
yeah, that's right.
they give you $750, but you have to pay it back. You have
That's
to
right.
pay it back. When
Yeah,
and why?
it's unbelievable. There were two um, podcast interviews that I wanted to get your opinion on. One was Tucker Carlson, and the other one was Lindy Lee, who was on with the Sean
I
Ryan.
saw that.
Okay, the Tucker Carlson one. He nobody is talking about this, and it blows me away because I don't remember who he was talking to,
Are you
but
talking about how he was saying what the Ukrainians living in another
yes,
country had?
yes,
They were living in some type of ski
ski resort,
resort. Yeah, and they had tons of money and they were driving
right?
cars and they were shopping and stuff like that. How does that not piss anybody off?
Yeah,
Once again, and here's where I think, John, everybody's always blinded, is they think it's an attack on a certain culture or country.
yeah,
Like, oh, what? Because they're Ukrainian? No, I don't want anybody to have that money. I don't even want my fucking cousin in Italy to have that fucking money because it's not hers.
yeah. It's our taxpayer dollars. And Tucker Carlson said that he knew for a fact that at least 50% of American arms that were sent there are being sold for profit. And was there anything else? Yeah, and it just blows me away.
And
And
wait,
then
Zelensky just 2 weeks ago said that they didn't even see some of the money. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We haven't even seen the money that supposedly Joe Biden sent. You guys, we're not dropping a coin purse on the ground. This is
right,
millions and millions, billions of dollars,
right, yeah,
okay, of your money. And
yeah,
keep in mind, while you're bitching about all of the expenses that you have, okay, you're not like, you're like, oh yeah. Listen, if I was walking on the street and I had no money and a bum came up and asked me for money, I would say, dude, I can give you like my coffee. I don't even have money. Like, I'm
yeah.
sorry, I don't have money. We need to take care of Americans first
That's right.
here in our
Yeah,
country. We have veterans that are on the street.
that's right.
We have fentanyl that's been coming in through this southern border for
Years.
years.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but nobody wants to talk about the COVID mental health crisis that literally put people out of fucking work and it's made everybody. Am I allowed to say the hard R? Everybody gets mad when you say that word now.
What hard?
Retarded. Everyone's
Oh, I don't
acting
give a
fucking
shit.
retarded.
Yeah, no, it's fucking retarded.
I thought that word meant stupid, but apparently it's something else.
No, it's fine. There's only one
Not,
word I don't say, and that's the N word. Every other word I fucking
oh yeah, I don't like people when they use that word. I think it's a gross word.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, I don't know. I just don't understand why like literally this should have been the one thing to unify both party like liberals and conservative Americans. I'm not talking about Congress. I'm talking
Mhm.
about actual citizen Americans where they're like, wait a minute, we need to be Rosa, we need to go after them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I want my fucking money back.
It's
Like, every American should get. I've been saying it all day in videos. I'm like, I want a cool million.
yeah, yeah,
We deserve
yeah.
more each. And I'm
It's
not saying every conservative. I'm saying every single
everyone.
legal American deserves to have at least $1 million back this year, untaxed, and we don't have to give it back to nobody.
Because even if you did vote for Kamala, it was still your tax money going there.
100%.
Yeah, it's insane.
And by the way, I want to say something about the Kamala thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Everybody was so fucking hell-bent on the fact that they were saying that people didn't want to vote for Kamala because she was a woman and she was black. First of all, we voted for Obama
Right,
in staggering numbers twice.
Right.
proving nobody gives a fuck about the color of your skin.
Absolutely.
Okay. Also, she played black. She wasn't, she wasn't it.
Yeah.
Okay. One day she was Jamaican on one show. And then the next day she was cooking greens. She was soaking greens, I guess, in the bathtub. And then
Yeah.
another day she was super white. And then she was fucking. So, anyway, you know what I bet you? You know who I bet would have won? People are
Who?
going to hate me for it.
No, it's okay.
And I don't give a fuck. You can't change my mind if
I
you would
think
have
I
put
know who you're going. Absolutely.
If you put Michelle Obama over her, I bet you any money she would have
She's
won.
the woman is unbeatable. The woman is unbeatable
And
because
conservatives and Republicans, yes, we can call her Michael and say that it's a guy
whatever.
and all the whatever things and all the things, but she she was likable.
Very
She is
extremely intelligent.
extremely intelligent,
Yeah.
pretty. She can talk to people. She knows people. Like, I think if she would have got up there, every time Kamala got up there, I'm like, oh my God, what the
Um,
fuck is she gonna? I'm not saying I would have voted for Michelle Obama by any means.
but it
I'm
would have been
just
a
saying
dogfight. It would have been a dogfight.
it would have been like, get rid of the black thing and the woman thing. Like, any other black woman that would have ran besides Kamala Harris probably could have beat him or dominated the fucking election. That's
Right.
just my opinion.
No, I kind of I definitely agree with you with the Michelle Obama thing. Now let me ask you this because a lot of people aren't talking about this, which I thought would have blown up. Um, Barack Obama goes to Jimmy Carter's wake and he goes to uh, Trump's inauguration and no Michelle Obama. And I think that is the first time in my lifetime, maybe in American history, where a U.S. president was in public married without his wife.
Well, something was going on there.
Yeah,
And people can say that it was because she didn't want to see Donald Trump. I don't buy
I
that.
don't buy that either.
I think that Michelle Obama has got, no point intended, like bigger balls than a lot of people think. Like, I think she wouldn't have given a fuck and she would have walked in there even if Trump was there.
I fully agree.
Um, there had to be some type of marital dispute, and
Yeah.
and that it's probably a personal thing, I think. But I did kind of like to see Obama and Trump,
Yeah,
like,
yucking it up. Yeah.
oh my God. And then they asked Trump about it the next day, and he's like, we did look like that, didn't we? We did look like we liked each
Yeah.
other. Well, yeah, I guess we did. And it's funny to see that.
It
And
just
look,
it makes
oh,
me question a little bit about Michelle Obama because um you look at Trump and Melania and they literally tried to embarrass him and disgrace his family when they brought out who was the porno star. I forgot the porno star's name. And
oh,
I
yeah, I the
yeah,
blonde chick,
right, yeah.
yeah,
I forget her name when they brought her out and they showed that
Stormy Daniels,
yeah, Stormy Daniels. And Melania never said a word, never left her man, just stayed solid,
right?
right? And that would make 98% of women run, especially in the public eye.
For
Where,
sure.
yeah, where Michelle was like, for whatever happened behind, I don't know, but she's like, fuck you, I'm not going, and
That's
it's,
true.
and I've had insane fights with my wife, just like any other couple, right? Um, but we got to go do something. We have a family affair.
Yeah, we have a wedding to go to. You
We
got to
get
get your
and
shit together,
she just sucks it up, gets dressed, and let's go
and
and
you play nice that night.
plays the
Yeah,
role. That's it.
yeah.
Um,
I
so what?
gotta say something about Stormy.
Go ahead. Do you know I tried
Uh,
getting her on? I tried interviewing her because I every year there is a Exotica. There's a porn convention it's in New Jersey. They're supposed to have it in New York, but they put it in New Jersey because it's cheaper, or whatever. So every year I go to try to get interviews, and I waited online because this was like right after the whole thing,
is that
right?
why you went to get interviewed?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah,
Yeah, you could
exactly.
tell everybody that. Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
And I waited online for like a half hour. And because there was a line for it to meet up because there's this whole Trump thing. And what's funny is and she obviously never did it. She gave me her email and never responded. But what's
Oh,
funny is
so
that
you met her in person?
yeah, yeah. I didn't mention anything about Trump. I just asked her to
Of
be on.
course. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um and she just gave me her email and never responded, right? But then I went back. They have it every year. And I went back this October and she was there and there was no line. You could have walked right up to her and just talked to her. You know,
Yeah, nobody wanted to see
nobody
her.
wanted it anymore. That was, 15 minutes was up. So go ahead.
Well, here's again, this could become controversial for some. You got your money, girl, right?
Yeah.
So he paid you your money for whatever. You said in an interview before that he didn't keep you in the room, he didn't force you to do anything. He was very
Oh, he said it on
nice.
Bill Maher. He said it on the Bill Maher show.
Yeah. Okay.
He said
You
it.
spent the money, girl, right? You
Yeah.
spent it. Okay. What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like you got the money, you spent the money. What's up? What do you need? It would be like if somebody ate at my restaurant 10 years ago and he's like, "Yeah, by the way, I want my money back cuz that steak sucked 10 years ago." I would be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Dude,
Right. Yeah.
go fucking blow chunks in the alley. It's not my fucking problem." You know
That's
what I'm
right. Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that was a weird fucked up
I
situation.
think a lot of these
Anyways,
people are there for cash grabs, which leads me into the next part. And this is gonna, I'll leave this as the last topic because I don't want to keep you too long.
you're good.
Um, Lindy Lee. So for people who
Mhm.
don't know, was a former campaign advisor to Joe Biden, apparently very close to the Biden family. Um, she went on Sean Ryan's podcast and she just spilt the beans of information and corruption that was going on during that campaign. The thing is, there are a lot of people that don't know whether she's lying or not, because during the campaign, the last 4 to 6 years or whatnot, she was a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party and spewed a ton of propaganda and backed up anything they did and trashed Trump anything he did. So my opinion on this show, I mean, I'll read out a little bit of stuff, but I want your opinion. My opinion is, I think she's just going for the cash grab because she literally is like, I got my ass kicked. This is irrelevant. I think she's just a two face. I don't think she's lying. I think she's a two face and just has her hands out, going, "I can make money this way if I just spill the beans." And I think that's what it is personally. But I don't know. Did you watch it?
Yeah, so I had trouble watching it because I didn't think that she was genuine.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And so as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, and I think about this with every situation, right? Now, think about it. I'm a huge Trump supporter. I love what the administration does. This was a person that was coming out speaking against Joe Biden, so I can very easily take her side on it.
right,
But I was like, why didn't you say anything before though?
right, right, right.
Did they cut off your funds and now you're like,
Exactly.
I need a story. I need, so I don't know, it was something behind the eyes for me as I watched her. I was like,
Yeah. No,
this
and
is,
a lot of people did because if you look at her tweets, on X. I mean, it's bashing Trump. It's everything you could possibly think
yeah,
of that to as a mouthpiece of a Democratic Party. And literally with like he won, and what, less than a month later, you're like, oh, these people are crazy.
right, right.
It's
And here's
very
the thing, people could say whatever they want about Joe Biden. I personally cannot stand Joe Biden,
mm,
but I think I heard more people complain about working for Kamala Harris
yeah,
than Joe Biden.
yeah,
I think most of the things I heard about Joe's administration was people say he was very hard to rally up. He was very hard to control in the sense of like, didn't know what he was going to say because he was so blubbery. Like he
mm,
was just not competent. And
yeah,
so it was more of a babysitting situation. I don't think I heard many reports of him being like mean or
yeah,
yelling at people. I think he was just an old asshole.
yeah, yeah.
I think Kamala was a bitch.
Yeah, well, she said that.
Yeah.
She said that she absolutely loves Joe Biden because of all the chances that he gave her and hiring on a
Oh,
staff and
she
so
did
on.
say that? See, I
Yeah,
didn't even watch the full up. Okay.
yeah. She
So,
said, and
see,
then
I didn't even know that.
she said Kamala would actually get angry at her staff when she wasn't prepared for a particular interview or something like that. So, and she even said that the girl, because Sean Ryan actually asked her, "What do you think that she's going to do now?" And she's seriously considering running in 2028 for president.
No,
Yeah, and it's like, oh, who?
sit this one out, girl.
Yeah, really, like it's unbelievable. So some of the things that she said, uh, basically she said Beyonce was paid, Cardi B was paid, Katy
We know
Perry,
that.
Katy Perry was paid, Christina Aguilera was paid, Oprah Winfrey was paid. Did you see how they paid Oprah Winfrey? She said that they gave the $2 million to Harpo Productions, and if Harpo spelled backwards is Oprah, and it was just unbelievable. Al Sharpton and Roland
Oh, I
Martin.
can't stand this fucking
Yeah, I
guy.
know. Al Sharpton and Roland Martin were both paid before the interview. So Al Sharpton got 500,000 to interview Kamala, and Roland Martin got 350,000 to interview Kamala. I mean, it was just the stuff that she was
I
saying.
wish I would be surprised.
Yeah, right, right,
They
right.
were paying social media influencers too. Any of your listeners could look up palette management. They were paying TikTok and Instagram influencers
Yeah,
to put out positive Kamala and Joe Biden posts. I mean,
yeah.
they really were.
And she completely lied about going on Rogan because Rogan said it. He blew it up. Basically, her staff was saying that there were phone calls and they were close to an interview, and they actually had somebody go to Rogan's studio and do a walk around. And he said that never happened. We never had a phone call. We were never close. He said that the closest we came is they wanted me to go to her and limit the interview for 45 minutes. And he said with Trump, it was one phone call. He called him. He said, "Well, you want to come in?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem. I'm coming in." And it just baffles me. And to her, you know what it is about Kamala. She is literally the way she acts she's literally the poster boy for how the Democratic Party acts. Just oblivious, just
Mhm.
oblivious. So somebody, she said that. Let's see, Lindy Lee said that Biden needed a teleprompter even at private events. If there was like 10 or 12, 20 people, he still couldn't put it together. He said after she goes, he wasn't running anything. It was for the last 4 years, it was senior advisors and Joe Biden that were running things. She said after the debate, Hunter sat in on every major interview and every major meeting, and only selected certain information to give to his father. I mean, she really went down.
I mean, all of that stuff that she's said, we all kind of knew
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
She just solidified that for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. She basically, all the people that were called conspiracy theorists are now factual, right? And
Listen, the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is about 6 months.
yeah, exactly. That's the perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
So, I want your opinion on this because I have my opinion, but Trump is really stirring shit up. Um, and he's put major players in roles, not like he did last year. Like we went over it, right? Elon Musk and the guy from ICE and
Yeah.
Vance as his vice president. How do you think the Democrats? Because how do you think the Democrats are going to deal with this for the next 4 years?
I
I
have
mean,
no idea. They need to get it together. They look like a mess.
yeah, because
Yeah.
even if I think they lost their shot um, when um, when the assassination didn't work. I think that was the last real attempt. Because
Well,
me personally, I think he's too big to assassinate now. I think he's too
no,
big.
the amount of security that he has, there's no way. So,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
even if they did, I mean, he literally said publicly the other day, he says, I've already let everybody know what needs to be done when I'm
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
And even if you
Um,
did, you got Vance and you have all these people, it would just still continue. Elon Musk,
yeah,
it's not like Kennedy where Lyndon Johnson was a puppet, right?
right.
Yeah,
But this is what he ran on.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. He literally, every single thing that he's doing right now is what he said he was going to do when he was rallying around the country.
Mhm.
Okay. So it shouldn't be a shock. What it is the fact that let's just say for a second, your mom said she was gonna whoop your ass when she got home.
Mhm.
Okay. And she did this a few times and she never did. Well, one time she came home and she fucking whooped your ass.
Right.
And you're like, you're just
God.
stunned,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she took all your stuff away, and so now you're really pissed off for about 6 months to a year at her, and you don't have a really good relationship. But then you start to realize that things are really going to be okay. And you start to be successful and da da. This is what's going to happen. Right now, big bad daddy Trump, in their eyes, has come through and he's doing all this stuff that they don't even want to listen to understanding.
Mm,
But once it all starts to take effect in about 6 months to a year, you're going to start to see that you're making more money and things are coming down, and this country is cleaned up and people are not getting tossed on a train track in
right.
fucking Union Station.
That's right.
We're going to realize, oh shit, dude means business. I don't think Democrats have anything to run on for the next, I don't know, forever. I think that this is the
I
biggest
really
red
don't.
pill
Yeah.
drop that has ever happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get their shit together. I
Yeah.
mean, they have nobody to run against him.
Nobody.
If they think Kamala Harris is going to be the girl, I'm sorry, honey, it's not.
If they think Gavin Newsom is going to be the guy,
Even worse.
yeah, that was bad.
Um, and I say even worse because the guy's a cocky asshole
Yeah.
and literally destroyed one of the most beautiful states in the United States in our union.
Absolutely.
So I kind of like it. I kind of like to see them talk. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And it seems like uh identity politics seems to be going at bay. You have comedians that are a lot more edgier now. You have
Well, they're tired of it too, because
yeah,
comedy is supposed to be
it's
like
supposed to be
that.
edgy. Yeah.
So it's not supposed
Yeah.
to be anti. It's not supposed to be woke.
Yeah, you have young men that are really going running toward the conservative party. I mean, they're literally basically like taking up MMA and starting businesses and
I
seeing
love
through the
this.
propaganda. And you even see it on college campuses. There's a ton of Trump support on college campuses during the campaign where you would have never seen that before. So, yeah, the Democratic Party fucked up so bad. Like you said it before, you literally ran to the Conservative Party, and
I did.
you're not the only one. I think the majority of America did, to be honest with you, because I thought it was bad when after September 11th with George Bush, I was like, oh man, the Republicans need to get their shit together because they're really
Oh,
fucking
I
up.
would have never voted for him. Yeah.
Right, they're like really fucking up. That's nothing compared to what the Democrats are in now.
No. And here's the thing is like during the election, like the campaigning season, like this last year and a half, I would see in the comments section that like they would, they belittle you and berate you and say all these things to you. And I'm like, cool. Was that supposed to sway me? Because I just ran another fucking 100 yards to the right. Like,
Exactly. Yes.
you're not doing anything that's gonna make anybody like want to even have the conversation to you and be like, all right, well, yeah, you're right. I see where you're coming from. It's literally laughable.
Yeah, and you have major leftist personalities that are calling it out. Bill Maher, Jon Stewart. They're basically saying, what you
Even
doing?
what's his name? The guy that he used to call Trump pig faced
Oh
motherfucker.
yeah, that's right.
Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport. Yeah, yeah, he was on PBD. Yeah, and he said, yeah,
Yeah,
I was wrong. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
so it's just and here's another thing that is I'll end on this because I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but what people don't understand, what I is this guy Trump has been through, hell and back, literally, and he's still standing tall. He's done more than most people could do in 5 lifetimes. And there's still a group of people that just can't respect him. And they tried embarrassing him. They tried bankrupting him. They tried arresting him. They tried killing him. They tried shaming him, and he's still
and
there. And
bro, he's doing this all for free. He doesn't even get a paycheck from
yeah,
us.
yeah. Him and Elon Musk are not doing it. Not taking anything, and
So it's not like
he's still standing strong. Even if
I
you
know.
don't like him, you gotta respect that part of him.
The lights are on at the White House at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, really? Yeah. So that
Oh
means
yeah, there's a guy that posts on X all the time. He's like, good morning, it's February 12th and the lights are on at 5 a.m.
I mean, yeah, these shits where people's working.
Dude, dude signed an executive order at 3 o'clock in the morning. Donald Trump was on his way to the Super Bowl, flying over the Gulf of America, and literally signed a proclamation changing it from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
while over the Gulf of Mexico.
Right, 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 right. The
And the pilot saying, ladies and gentlemen, look to your left. You are now seeing for the first time the Gulf of America.
holy
Dude's a
shit.
savage.
He really is. He really is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I equate him to? I've been a blue collar worker my whole life. I was an electrician for 10 years, and then now I'm a sewer worker in New York City. And if you have a supervisor that comes over and he's kind of lame, right, you take your time. If you have, but then we've had supervisors that come over and they're tyrants, and you immediately like, oh shit, I got to get to
Oh yeah.
work, and that's what Trump is. He makes
It's so
everybody you
true.
better fucking work, otherwise you're gone.
So
You
true.
know, sir. All the respect, all the love in the world. I can't thank you enough for doing this. You have no idea
Thank
what it
you.
means to me. I really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're
Yes.
doing because you truly make a difference. And what's
Thank
great
you.
about you is you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, you walk the walk too. I mean, you're out there helping and really putting in the effort. So as one Italian American, but as one American, thank you very much to another.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I had fun. Thank you for having me on, and I would love to come back on in the
Oh,
future.
we'll do it again, definitely. I truly appreciate it.
Cool.
We'll be in touch.
All right, bud.
All right, take care.
Bye.